One of the things that you'll notice, and this happens a lot with when people are doing the practice, because the two biggest culprits are the chatter that's going on from the ego and then the intellect that won't stop thinking. Keep in mind that both the ego and the intellect can't run without consciousness, which is the mind. But if you're paying attention to the ego intellect, that makes the mind unconscious because you're not using it. And so what ends up happening, and certainly when you start doing the practice, you start doing the practice usually from the intellect, because how you learned the practice was from outside knowledge. This is how you do it. You don't want to have your practice be a comparison point to how you think you should do it. You want to just be able to let go of the thinking process and just drop into the feeling process of the mind. And so this becomes something that is an interesting thing. But remember that when we grow up, most of who we think we are is who we are from when we were born up until right now, which is all the past. But you can't actually live in the past. You can only live in the present facing forward. And that, of course, is actually where the mind lives. Because it is the mind that experienced all of the past. But unfortunately, the mind doesn't understand all the past. So all that past ultimately becomes compartments many times that become how we think or believed we saw our life experience, which many times is skewed through misperception. And so what getting into the practice and understanding what's inside of the Kelee is you have all this stuff from your past that you didn't understand, that you thought, once the day's over and you move on to the next day, it's like, good riddance, so be it, if it's not something you want to look at. But anything you don't understand will compartmentalize inside you, which is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing if you want to learn from it. It's a curse if you don't. And so what everybody at some point is going to realize is that if you're going to find the freedom that you want, you have to get out of using the reflective quality of a past that's filled with pain. Remember that every moment is actually free until we do something to not make it that way. And so this ends up becoming whether or not our mind in what's ahead of us is opening up to good vibrations or bad vibrations outside of us. Obviously, the bad vibrations will probably give us more compartments. The good vibrations will become something to enjoy and appreciate. And so there's a lot of complexity that goes on with the human condition when it comes to what it is that a person is really wanting to experience in this life. Because sometimes people's wants and needs actually can have to do with other people. And if our wants and needs are about controlling or influencing other people for our benefit, then this is what causes karma. If a person wants to associate with us and they're free to do it, then there's no problem. But the minute one person tries to control another person's experience of life, there's resistance. By nature, nobody wants to actually be controlled, right? But within the ego and the intellect, there are people that actually want to be controlled and people who don't. And so the people that want to be controlled are at the mercy of the people controlling them. The people that don't want to be controlled are at the mercy of the resistance that they have with the person trying to control them. So you have all this kind of stuff that goes on, and then once again you get down to this place when you move into the mind where it's one-pointed and you're just free to be yourself. So then you start to realize if I stay in the moment, I can be free. If I go back into the past, I may run into pain. If I open up to the future, then that is just where the experience of life meets us.